Listening to The Breakfast Show on Faith FM with Skafy and Lindsay and producer Sandy. Today, if you're listening live, is March 27th. Today is a Friday, and we are absolutely delighted to be your company this morning, wherever you are listening to our show, through the podcasts, through the apps, or live through the radio as well, or live through the app. You can download the app for free, Faith FM Australia, on your favorite app of choice. We are going to be talking about gifts today, Lindsay, particularly the big gift that President Trump said that he has received from Iran.
Oh, I'm curious.
There's a lot of controversy on this gift, but we're going to be talking about that. And we're going to be looking at a Bible story of a time where a king in Israel also tried to avert war by offering gifts. And we'll see if there's any parallels.
Okay.
Between these two stories. What about you, Lindsay? What are you going to be talking about?
I'm going to be talking about singing to your lemon tree.
Singing to your lemon tree. Look, I have a lemon tree. I have never sang to my one. Let me see if you can change my mind and convince me to do so. So I'll do my very best. But also, we're going to have an interview today with Dr. Mel Renfrew. She is one of Australia's leading experts in lifestyle medicine, and she's going to be sharing with us how did she ended up getting into that field and some top tips to improve your health. But before we get into that, we have a new quiz question to play. So please, producer Sandy.
Which prophet wrote, "We all like sheep have gone astray"? Which prophet wrote, "We all like sheep have gone astray"? 0491 064 669. Which prophet wrote, "We all like sheep have gone astray"? And bonus points to Lindsay and Skafy. This phrase comes up in a famous piece of music.
Yes, I was going to say, if you've ever listened to Colin Buchanan, you would know this.
Well, okay, that's not the one I was thinking. I'm thinking a lot more famous and old.
Old?
older than that.
Beethoven or something?
You're on the right track, but
Bach?
Well, maybe we'll see. Sandy will reveal to us.
A contemporary of Bach. But yeah, this I'll tell you on the quiet a bit later.
Okay.
And I will,
like in the Old Testament of music canon.
And if you remind me when I give the answer, I will also tell you my extra little bonus quiz question answer as well. So,
Okay.
But for our listeners, which prophet wrote, "We all like sheep have gone astray"?
Alrighty.
Okay, let us know. Speaking of which, Lindsay, tell me, why should I be singing to my lemon tree?
Oh, if you've never tried it, you got to give it a go. So there is a man in Brisbane who is an Italian immigrant living out his days in Brisbane, and his neighbours are daily accosted with him singing opera to his lemons.
Oh, sole mio.
Something like that.
Kind of like that?
Very loudly, with a great deal of lung capacity.
At 6 a.m. in the morning.
6 a.m.
And they haven't called the council yet to help resolve that issue. Probably they're liking it, their alarm.
Wasn't quite aware of how far it's gotten, but it certainly made it to the news a little while back. And yeah, hey, look, this guy, he sings to his lemons because his father or his grandfather taught him how to love his lemon trees, how to sing to them, to nurture them. And you can see there's a massive difference between the size of the lemons that he gets off his tree compared to ones that you get at the shops. Like the ones that you get at the shops are, I don't know, everyone knows how big a lemon is from the shops is, right? These ones are nearly the size of your head. They're massive, juicy, very happy looking
let's
lemons.
talk about big lemons here.
Yeah.
Because I have some friends that gave me some real big lemons.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the size of your head, but talking about the size of a grapefruit.
Yeah, they're grapefruit size.
But you know what? They were not good. They were not practical.
No?
When you cut them, there was a very thick layer of skin.
Rind, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not a terrible amount of juice.
Okay.
So big is not always better, but I'm wondering if with your Brisbane neighbor, that story is different.
Hey, look, I don't know how they are, but he reckons they're great. So I'm going to believe him. And you know what? There is actually a great deal of science that goes into this. So many people have been playing classical music to their plants, their gardens for years now. And there has been studies that show how the sound waves actually impact the growth of plants in nature. And there's even one young man who I've seen on social media recently who has like this little like electrode type of contraption. I don't know what you call it, but he connects it to the leaves of trees or to like fungus.
I know this one.
What is that called?
It's called there's an electro something, but basically it is you get a wire, copper wire.
You connect it
and you
to
ground it,
yeah,
and then you let it kind of be surrounding or even touching plants. And in theory, this is actually fairly studied. It's just that it's a little bit of an expensive contraption, but it does help with, slugs and, there's a bunch of parasites that don't like that electric field that the copper wire generates.
Yes, no, I wasn't thinking of that, but that is true too. Yeah, if you put particularly coiled copper into your garden, it will repel any pests, basically.
Not any pests.
Well,
but
a lot of pests.
Yeah, a number of pests. And some people would even connect them with batteries, like car batteries, so that they can be
extra
potent power,
yeah,
extra energy. Some people say that that there's a little bit of copper that gets infused into the soil, and that helps the plants as one of the nutrients that they need.
We have so much copper deficiency in our world today, which is a leading cause of anemia. It's not like an iron deficiency; it's actually a copper deficiency. But that's a whole other conversation. We're not talking about that right now. We're talking about the vibrations that come out of your voice or out of like classical music that impact plant growth for the better. There's just so many like the Mythbusters checked this out years ago. They gave it a try. In fact, they found rock music worked the best in their control, but I don't know why it came out that way.
Maybe because they're rock music fans.
Maybe.
And the plant wanted to please them.
It's so interesting to see all the different like experiments.
So how much better would plants grow if they have like music around them though?
Look, I don't know a specific percentage of a rate of growth, but there is a significant increase in growth and in vitality in these plants that have particularly positive words spoken to them or positive music sung to them. And it's just really interesting how at the scientific level, the vibrations of these words or these sounds are impacting growth. And if it can do that to plants, it certainly does that within our own bodies and our own minds. I think it's so important that we are, and there's a Bible verse that says that you should be constantly singing and making melody in your heart to the Lord, singing hymns and psalms and spiritual songs, encouraging each other with these things. If these kinds of sounds are encouraging plants to grow at a very basic level, imagine the word of God in positive wavelengths going through our brain and helping us to grow spiritually as well.
Wow. I do not know if you convinced me. I'm not too sure if I will be singing hymns or psalms or Bible passages or opera to my lemon tree.
Oh, that little lemon tree is missing out.
Yeah, but you know what? I actually like talking to them, though. I actually like talking.
What do you say to your lemon tree?
Oh, no, you say good morning. How are you going?
Yeah.
And actually, I'm going to tell them, my lemon tree, actually, that, hey, this might hurt a little bit, but I need to prune you.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a lot of branches here that shouldn't be here.
My mum does this, guys. My mum has a veggie patch, and I can't remember which one she was telling me about the other day, but there's certain trees in her garden that they just haven't been producing the last couple of years. And so she goes up and she tells them off, and she's like, okay, I need you to either produce or I'm going to chop you down. And she gives them a bit of a prune, and then they flourish.
Ultimatum.
A little bit. She's like very serious about it. She's like, you need to behave. I mean, what else are you going to do when you live out in the country with not a lot of people around to talk to you?
If you don't produce fruit to me in 48 hours, I'm going to uproot you like never. No plant has ever been uprooted before.
Not in 48 hours. She gives them a bit more time.
Very cool.
So,
all right.
Anyway.
There you go. Look, I have one of my good friends. His dad is a professional gardener, in grower, produce grower in Brazil. He's he's world renowned and everything. One of the things that he taught me and he taught his children is that they pray for their plants.
Oh, wow.
On a daily basis. No, they pray for the garden. They're asking God, and they say, God, please help these plants to grow, to develop. When there are issues like diseases, they're praying so that God can help them figure it out and identify what that is. And I really like that. I think that there's a really good, there's a Chinese proverb in gardening that says that the best fertilizer is the shadow of the gardener.
Oh, wow.
Meaning, like, when you are actually spending time
there.
with your plants, you're
Yeah.
looking at them, you're checking for their well-being, and why not talking to them, maybe even praying for them, singing. If this is your thing, you know, I'm not going to be judging you. Singing
Look,
for them, I
we
think
all
that
need
there's
more practice with singing.
That love would definitely expand. Now, my concern would be with the singing.
Okay.
Is how the neighbors will feel about it.
Look, if they are not appreciating good music, that's on them. And if you're the kind of person whose singing is bad, then
But like
you need to
6
practice.
a.m. I mean, you
Yeah.
could end it to like 8 o'clock
Yeah,
at least.
okay,
It's
so
a bit more reasonable time
The
of the
dude
day.
in Brisbane, he could probably like sing a little quieter maybe at 6 a.m. He probably doesn't have to belt out proper opera music at that volume for his neighbors to hear. He probably doesn't have to go that hard. He's got very, very, very solid lung capacity from what I could tell.
Yeah.
But, hey, we don't have to go that hard, but we can certainly be singing and making a joyful noise to the Lord and to everyone around us and all the
love
plants
it.
around us.
That
too.
is a great story. I do believe in the power of sound.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible says that, you know, it was through sound that everything, you know, was created.
Sometimes I like to imagine that Jesus was singing as he spoke the world into existence.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
because
I
he's got
think
such
so
a
too.
melodious voice, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And the angels were singing while God
That's
was. So they were
right.
doing like the backing vocals in
Yeah.
the choir. God is saying, "Let there be light," and they're like, the angels like, "Let there be light."
the
or
ultimate
something.
musical. He's like,
I don't know.
light, and then like the lights flash,
Yeah,
and they're on.
It
for
would
the rest
be
of time.
so beautiful. The world has been created through the sound of music,
Yeah.
and the most beautiful music is the voice of God.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
And now it's time for our quiz answer. Please, producer Sandy.
The prophet Isaiah wrote, "We all like sheep have gone astray."
Isaiah.
Isaiah. And then the answer to my question, which
Little
was
additional bit.
which was a song that this comes up in, and I was thinking of Handel's Messiah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I was
there's
thinking ba ba do ba ba.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go home and check that out because I'm not familiar with that one. This is
We actually had someone comment in ba ba do ba ba after I
Yes.
mentioned that.
Oh, really?
yes.
Yeah.
So I am the massive classical music nerd. So yeah, Handel's Messiah is what I think of. All we like sheep have gone astray. Hey. Anyway, it goes on like that. It's pretty-
Really?
yeah.
Wow. There you go. I didn't know that.
Or Colin Buchanan works as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, written by the prophet Isaiah.
Cool. Thank you very much, Producer
No
Sandy.
worries.
All right, let's talk about gifts, Lindsay. So
Tell me all about it. I am here for
yeah.
this.
So just this week, when the deadline to Donald Trump gave a deadline to the Iranians, said, "Look, 48 hours. If in 48 hours you do not open up the Strait of Hormuz, I'm going to obliterate all of your energy power plants, starting with the biggest one."
Okay.
And as a result of that, the Iranians did two things. Number one, they launched a 4,000-kilometer range ballistic missile that nobody in the world knew that they had. And they
Okay.
reached the
Yep.
U.S. Base in Diego Garcia Island. And that, so when the world saw this, they realized, oh, wow, Iran has actually the reach to hit pretty much any country in Europe, bar, I think, Portugal.
Okay.
And half of Spain, but
Yeah.
all the France, Portugal, France, Germany, UK, it's all
Wow.
within the range. Then the second thing that happened is that the Iranians responded back and said, "Okay, if you do that, we are going to destroy the energy infrastructure of the Gulf countries, all of their pipelines, their refineries, their oil extraction capabilities, and also their desalination plants." Now, the desalination plants, there's 100 million people that rely on them because the Middle East.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at like a place like Dubai and these like Emirates and like lots of people living there, they have these lush, very well developed. Where do they get all this water if they're in the middle of the desert? The
Yeah.
only reason why these societies were able to develop, these countries were able to develop, is because of desalination water technology.
Yeah.
They basically get water from the ocean, transform it into drinking water.
Wow.
Now, everybody, when people looked into that, I don't know if everybody took that very seriously, the threat from Donald Trump, because this is a war crime to attack civilian energy infrastructure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's according to the Geneva law, because the laws have war. Wars have laws.
I mean, I've always grown up hearing all's fair in love and war, right? So I didn't even realize that there were rules about war.
No, there's a bunch of rules about law. For example,
like, how do you enforce it when it's war?
Well, in theory, you have in theory you have.
Hold, we've just got something happening here for a second.
Yes.
Yeah. So in theory, we have something to.
Yeah. So okay, let me go back here. So producer Sandy was just needing some little help here, something from me. So there are laws. For example, you cannot shoot parachutists when they are falling on the parachute. Okay. You cannot shoot a medic. You cannot shoot a chaplain. You cannot shoot civilians, which is should go without saying. The obvious thing
but
is. But
doesn't all that stuff happen anyway?
It happens, but then you also have trials, like the international courts that judge people from. After the war is over, normally they are able to find people and judge. So, for example, the Nuremberg trials, where a number of German officers were judged for war crimes, for example.
Okay.
So, look, is it a perfect justice? No. Do people follow it all the time? No. But at the same time, for example, you cannot mistreat a war prisoner, a prisoner of war that you captured. And normally countries, they want to do this because they know that if they are following the laws of war, then you can follow as well, because it's not good for anyone when nobody is following these rules. If they're starting to go crazy and attacking civilian populations and so on and infrastructure, well, if it's open game, and in this case, the United States has an advantage over Iran in that the United States can strike Iran, but Iran cannot really strike the United States back. That's why they're trying to strike their allies.
Yeah.
So, but this is a war crime, and in America that would be probably seeing, because we are probably seeing some big repercussions for that. But anyway, so the Iranians said, look, if you do this with us, we're going to do this with you, and we're going to leave 100 million people struggling for water, including in Israel, because in Israel also the majority of people rely on desalinization plants. So. Donald Trump then, before the 48-hour deadline, which was going to expire on the Sabbath, was over. And by the way, do you know why these wars, they always start on the Sabbath? Have you noticed that?
No.
Oh yeah. Every phase they always do on Sabbath. Now,
wow.
Why is that? Number one, I think there's potentially a demonic element there, because Satan hates the Sabbath, so he wants to start wars on the day of peace. But there's also a practical element, which is the markets are closed. And if you start something on the Saturday, well, the markets then have Saturday and Sunday to adjust, so that when they open up, it's a little bit more controlled than if it's like on a Monday. This is why you don't see wars starting on Mondays.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's
weird. Just an interesting little thing.
The rhythm of warfare.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Donald Trump came up in a public statement and said, look, we have been negotiating, talking to people in Iran, have been having some really productive conversations. And they even offered us a gift of goodwill.
Okay.
And that gift of goodwill, someone asked, one of the reporters asked, is this in the nuclear realm? So no, it's in the oil and gas. Okay. And a lot of people were already thinking of maybe, Iran just let some ships go through the Strait of Hormuz.
Okay.
And that's exactly what happened. So,
awesome.
Yeah, so there were some sources that I think they were talking to one big newspaper like New York Times and so on. Some sources close to the president says, look, the Iranians let go a few oil shipments. They were not going neither to the U.S. nor to Israel to go through the Strait of Hormuz.
Okay.
Now, from a military perspective, this was a a great move actually from the United States. Not only because, look, number one, it could be signalizing that they are talking to some people in Iran, and also from a military perspective, if you have satellites looking in that area, you know which areas or which pathways are not mined, for example. In the ocean water, so you can monitor that and see, if there's any activity there. That being said, Iran has been denying all of this and saying, no, we're not negotiating with Trump. No, we're not talking to him. And this is like the speaker of the parliament of Iran saying, look, no, we're not talking about it. They're negotiating with themselves. They're making this up. This is fake news. We have the upper hand here. The United States came up with 15 points to make the war end. And Iran says, yeah, well, look, we have a 3-point for you. How about that? You pay for all the damage you have caused and you help to build all the destruction that you caused. Number 2, you allow us to have nuclear weapons. And number 3, you will let us control the Strait of Hormuz forever. So probably not terms that anybody outside of Iran would like to go with. Yeah, so that's where the state of things are.
It sounds like a lot of haggling.
A lot of haggling, and then Donald Trump came up again, and because people are pressuring him and saying, "Hey, are you really talking to these guys?" And Donald Trump says, "Yes, I am." The thing is, these people cannot say who they are, and Iran cannot say, because if they say who they are, they're going to be killed by their own regime. But we are talking to very powerful, influential people there.
Yeah.
And what led me to a Bible story about a time there a king called Hezekiah. Was he rebelled against his master, King Sennacherib, from Assyria. And they said, you know what, I'm going to stop paying tributes and I'm going to liberate some of my cities. And he had military success. But at some point, the king of Assyria came back strong and hard at Israel.
Yeah.
And King Hezekiah decided to say, okay, let me appease his wrath. Say, look, I'm sorry, I've done wrong. I shouldn't have rebelled against you.
Oopsie.
Look, here's all my money. Take all my money. He went to the temple, saw everything that was shining gold or silver, and sent it to King Sennacherib. It says, please accept this gift as a gesture of goodwill. And look, you can start, oppressing us again. No problem. Well, we're so sorry. And then they realized that they wouldn't have chance militarily against him. They had already obliterated the northern kingdom of Israel, and most of the cities of Judah, so now only Jerusalem is standing.
Yeah. And
he's trying to cry out for mercy. That's the history. So the history of people exchanging gifts in warfare is not new.
No.
This is something that has been happening, and it can be a gesture of goodwill. What happened, though, in the Bible story is that it was very short-lived, because King Sennacherib came down with his speaks people and says, look, why are you rebelling? Like, in whom are you trusting? Like, you're not trusting in Egypt, right? Why are you so bold?
Yeah.
You're not certain, to even consider going up against me. Like, are you trusting in Egypt? Like, Egypt, I have already destroyed Egypt. Egypt is, it's not going to help you.
Like, who do you think you are?
Are you trusting in the Lord? The Lord is going to help me crush you.
Yeah.
Your God is on my side anymore. So do not say to your people, hey, let's trust in the Lord. The Lord is going to save us. The Lord is going to prevail us, because he's not. And so some of the king's aides said, hey, can you please speak in Aramaic? We can understand. Don't speak in the Judean language. We don't want people to think that. No. I'm going to tell you, do not let Hezekiah deceive you, saying that Yahweh is going to save you. He is not going to save you. Yahweh did not save anyone from my hand. He's not going to save you. But guess what they've done? They said, God, look, you're the only one we can appeal to. They prayed to God. And on that night, the angel of the Lord came down and stroke like over 150,000 of Sennacherib's soldiers with blindness, and he delivered Israel.
Wow.
So there's a very interesting story. If you want to read that one, is in 2 Kings chapter 18. It's a really, really interesting story. I recommend you to go. But in the end of the days, look, there's only so much we can do from our side. But the most important thing we can do, we can trust in the Lord of Israel. He has the power and he has the willingness to save.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
And now we are going to be talking with a special guest, with Mel Renfrew. Thank you so much for joining us here today, Mel. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you, and lovely to join you.
Yeah, it's so good to have you on the show with us. Now, you are going to be talking to us a bit about lifestyle medicine, and please, start off by telling us, how did you get into this? What's the story there?
Okay, so actually it happened about 20 years ago, and I was at a park in Newcastle with my little twin toddlers at the time and a play group, and we were meeting at Black Butt Reserve, and I went from feeling very well and totally fine to 1 minute to in 10 out of 10 pain the next. I thought I was having a heart attack. I had this terrible pain in my chest, and I knew I was about to pass out, to vomit something. I was absolute misery. And luckily I had some friends there, and I just said, get me and the twins home, please. And somebody drove us home very kindly of them back to where my husband was, and he looked after the twins. I said, call an ambulance, there's something badly wrong. And to cut a long story short, I ended up in the Mater Hospital in Newcastle, and they soon found that I had a big gallstone that had found its way out of the gallbladder and into my bile duct. And the doctor explained it to me like it's like having a baby. You're contracting to get this stone out, and that's what caused the 10 out of 10 pain that you experienced. Anyway, from there I had all sorts of issues, had numerous lots of stones taken out of my bile duct by these procedures called ERCPs. I ended up with an abscess on my gallbladder and IV antibiotics. And I had a specialist there at the Newcastle Hospital who he said to me, "Melanie, I don't want you to eat any fat." And I thought he meant by that, fried food and things like that. And so one of the times that I was in hospital, because there was numerous times where I ended up in the hospital, I had some raw almonds sitting in a little jar by my bedside, and he went off his nut, not to use it as a pun, but he went crazy at me for eating those nuts, saying they're full of fat, you're not to eat any fat. And so I think it was that whole experience, and he told me I nearly died when I had this abscess, that just sent me on this trajectory of looking and researching and finding out what could I do to fix this. I was only in my early 30s at the time, and I started to find out about whole food plant-based eating, and that eventually led me to the Complete Health Improvement Program, or CHIP. And so it was back in 2012 that I went and did the CHIP program. We were living up on the Gold Coast at the time. And from there, Dr. Hans Deal, explained about eating a whole food plant-based diet and the way it can help you, etc. And so basically that became the turning point for me. I thought, if I've got to look after my health, I don't want any more of these incidences happening to me. And so I then and there changed my diet. And as a teacher, I was teaching at a school on the Gold Coast. I thought, man, I really want to get into this. This is an area of passion for me. It became an area of passion anyway. And so I was running CHIP programs and facilitating those. And from there, I ended up doing a graduate diploma in lifestyle medicine at Avondale University, and then went on with the pushing and prodding of my lecturer, Darren Morton. I went on and did a PhD, and have been working in that area ever since.
Wow, what a journey you have been on. And it's taken a little while to get here. Did you say it started about 20 years ago?
Well, that was when I had the gallbladder attack. So, yes, it's been a slow burn.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wow. And so now you've been working on a PhD. Have you completed the PhD, or are you still in the process?
Yeah, no, I completed the PhD back in 2022.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
So I've been working at Avondale ever since as a course convener for lifestyle medicine. And so we have some postgraduate degrees that we offer in lifestyle medicine, grad cert, grad dip, and a master's now. Okay. But we also offer some short courses. So I've taken a little step back to help look after my elderly parents at the moment, and I'm coordinating our short courses in lifestyle medicine, which is great too.
Okay, so tell us a bit more about these courses, and what can people get out of these courses? Start maybe with the short course. Okay,
so we offer a few short courses, but the main one is the Introduction to Lifestyle Medicine short course, and that's a course that's basically it's a 10-hour course that we do each evening for 5 Wednesday nights in a row, for example, and just do 2 hours at night. And we just cover the main principles, or the main, what we call pillars of lifestyle medicine, give people a bit of an introduction, overview all the different pillars of lifestyle medicine as they're known now. And it's really like a taste tester for people. The beauty of it is that you don't have to have had a degree in anything else. It's for everybody and anybody. It's lighthearted and fun. Darren Morton, who many people might know, myself and Simon Matthews run that course, and it's a lot of fun where we're just teaching people all about the different pillars of lifestyle medicine.
Oh, wow.
So that's that short course. We do a personalised lifestyle medicine, which is another step further, We do a short course in that as well. And we also do nicotine addiction, vaping cessation training for people who work in that field. It's a very intense course. But obviously, as you can imagine, smoking and vaping is still a big issue for our health. And so we offer a short course in that as well. But, yeah, a main one that people might be interested in is that Introduction to Lifestyle Medicine short course, which starts, again, very shortly in April.
Oh, wow. Awesome. So good. So we might circle back to that one, but what other courses, you said there were some, I guess, longer ones that you teach as well. What can people learn in those ones?
Okay, so basically we have postgraduate degrees, which means someone has to have a bachelor's degree already.
Okay.
And anyone with a bachelor's degree can do a graduate certificate in lifestyle medicine, which is 4 units of work. A graduate diploma is 8 units, and so anyone with any bachelor's degree can do either of those 2 degrees. And we also have a Master of Lifestyle Medicine, and that one is for people with a health-related degree only, so doctors, nurses, physiotherapists, etc.
Oh, so good. Man,
Yeah.
I might even want to get into this. This is something that I really enjoy learning about more is, all sorts of lifestyle things. I don't have a medical degree myself, but I might be able to get into the cert or the diploma. But what kind of things can people learn in these? Like, what are some of like your most favorite points that you teach?
Okay, well, basically we do units on the different domains of lifestyle medicine, which is exercise medicine, stress management, connection, managing risky substance use, sleep, and a plant-predominant diet. So we do a food as medicine unit as well. And so we cover all of those areas. I guess my pet area, even though I don't teach it, I'm an educator, not a dietitian. We have a dietitian that teaches our food as medicine area. And I'm happy to share a few tips about plant-based eating.
Yeah, go for it.
But, yeah, okay. So one of the things that we definitely teach as a core pillar of lifestyle medicine is a whole food, plant-based kind of eating pattern.
Okay.
And what that means is you've got the main food groups are vegetables, whole grains, legumes, fruits, nuts and seeds in smaller amounts. And probably if I share 3 key principles, one of them is diversity. And I think people hear a lot about the gut microbiome these days, and it's really important when you decide to adopt a plant-based diet that you do take care to eat from a wide variety of different foods just to maximise your protein, your fibre, your phytochemical intake, things like that. And so, for example, most plants don't contain all of the protein requirements in one plant, though some do. But if you eat from a really wide variety, you're supporting a really healthy gut microbiome, and you're making sure that you get a whole variety of different fibres and things like that. So a recent study did a study in eating 30 different vegetables a week.
Oh, wow.
And they found that they made up a blend of 30 different veggies and gave it to the people in a randomised controlled trial. And they found that those that are eating that wide diversity of foods really improve their gut health, their mood and their energy compared to their control group where they just gave them bread croutons. But you know, the more diverse amount of food you eat, trying new vegetables, trying new fruits, trying different things, that's really helpful.
That's fascinating. So let me see if I get my head around this. Is it because there's different types of microbes, different types of good bacteria that are on the different types of fruit and veggies and nuts and seeds and legumes and things, that when you eat that great big variety that goes into your gut and it like makes a really healthy combination and that helps your mood and helps everything move along correctly? Is that what you're telling us here?
Yeah. Well, it's sort of that. It's also a wide variety because there's not just one kind of fibre, for example. There's many different kinds of fibres. Okay. And so different gut microbes like different kind of fibres and things like that. So the wider the variety, you're just supporting a wide variety of gut microbes. So the bigger the variety that you eat from in terms of our gut microbes absolutely love fibre, Lindsay.
Yeah.
And there's no fibre in animal foods. It's all in plant food. So the more, the bigger variety, and that includes things like herbs and spices and a wide variety of nuts and seeds and things like that too, not just leafy greens, for example.
Yeah.
So it's if you're eating herbs and spices and things like that, turmeric and all those lovely bright spices, you're adding to the variety and the diversity. Yeah.
Man, this is fascinating. So people will be able to get a lot of really interesting and life-changing information by going through some of these courses.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we look at all sorts of different things. There's lots of, what would you call it, almost like myths out there. We talk about whole grains and, there's this idea you see whole grains written on the package or made from whole grains, but where we really probably should be talking about things like intact grains.
Okay.
So grains in their whole form, things like quinoa or rice or barley in its whole form, because if you think about grains, the more we chop them up, if you think about oats and you ate the whole oat groat, you've got a lovely slow digestion of oat groats.
Yeah.
Because the body has to work really hard to break down the oat in its whole form. But we tend to cut them into steel cut oats, which is still really good and still very nice slow digestion. But probably the most commonly used form of oat is a rolled oat, where we roll it out after it's been steamed. And when you expose the surface area of food, the more you expose it, the faster it is for the body to break down. And the digestive system, which quickly breaks it down, means a faster release of blood sugar into the bloodstream.
Oh.
And
does that contribute to things like diabetes or?
Precisely. So all of those things, you don't want these blood sugar spikes. You want a nice, slow digestion of your food. It helps increase the satiety so that you stay full for longer and you don't need to snack, and all of those things as well.
Wow.
So when people go down to quick oats, instant oats, whole grain oat flour, and then the worst of all, refined oat flour, for example, where they've removed the bran and the germ layer, you can think it's just almost like instant sugar into your bloodstream. So we talk about a lot of different things. Obviously, protein's another one. That would be my third top tip is you can get plenty of protein on a whole food plant-based diet, for example, by eating, if we go back to rule number one, which is diversity, and you're eating just from a wide variety of legumes. You've got your chickpeas and your lentils and your fava beans and your black turtle beans, and then you've got all these different lovely seeds, flax seed, sesame seed, pumpkin seed, hemp seed, quinoa. All those different things are really excellent sources of protein. But you don't have, when you're eating meat, you tend to have your protein, but you're also adding added saturated fat and cholesterol and all those things as well.
Right.
Whereas when you're eating a plant-based protein and a wide variety, not just one or two, so yes, you're going back to diversity in those things, you can get plenty of protein from a plant-based diet.
Okay, so I think what I'm hearing here is that there are like two major approaches that we can have to getting protein. We can either eat meat, which is going to have, I guess, a little bit of benefit, but it's also going to come with maybe a lot of like cons, like things that you probably don't want it to come along with so much, but there's another pathway that we can choose, which is a great variety of plant proteins, which is also going to benefit us by having a great variety of plant fibers that come along with it and all sorts of other nutrients. And
absolutely.
So there are two ways to get your protein, and one is like far superior than the other. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's exactly what you're hearing. So you can have it full of fiber, with antioxidants, with phytochemicals, no cholesterol, low saturated fat, or you can have it, many people don't realise this, but animal-based proteins don't have any fibres in them, so it's not helping your gut at all. No antioxidants, no phytochemicals. Yes, there's protein, but there's also cholesterol, and it's a higher in saturated fat. So,
sure.
You've got these superior plant-based protein, which you can get plenty of when you follow that rule number one, which is diversity.
Awesome. Oh, wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. We've only got about a minute left for this conversation. Was there any final thoughts that you'd like to share with our listeners today, or anywhere that they can go to find out more about any of this information?
Yeah, sure. So hopefully you can find the link to and provide that link somehow to our guests regarding their Introduction to Lifestyle Medicine short course. I think people would find it very helpful. It's very light, friendly. I do cooking demonstrations online. Darren Morton does some little exercise segments that I think people would really enjoy. And because obviously I'm talking about food, but there's all these other aspects to lifestyle medicine that are really important too. And so, yeah, I'd really encourage people to have a think about joining us for that. It's a really lovely taste tester for lifestyle medicine, and who knows, it might set people on the trajectory similar to what I ended up on. But I'm, absolutely convinced that we often talk about ultra-processed foods and being really problematic in Australia now, particularly with colon cancer and things like that. And so this is another way as an antidote for that, to steer clear of ultra-processed foods and instead look for whole foods in their whole form and lots of plant-based foods.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. We have got some links available for people if they want to have a closer look, maybe get involved in some of these short courses. If you want to send us through #lifestyle, we'll be able to get those links to you. Thank you so much for joining us here today, Mel. Really appreciate you joining us. Hopefully we'll get to hear from you again sometime soon.
Thanks for being a part of the Faith FM family. Join our community on Facebook or get in touch at 1-800-FAITH-FM.